We all need connection, we need to get to know people, When customers come here, I go to the table, I want to ask them, question, I want to know where they're from, I want them to reveal something about them that I don't know. And I think that's powerful, and that allow you to understand things that you don't know, and that's powerful to me.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. A year and a half ago, the world was very different. Many of us travelled to discover new places, immerse ourselves in different cultures, and enjoy the culinary delights all across the globe. The conversation and celebration of food globally has changed dramatically in the last decade, and food has the power to bring us all together. But the pandemic stopped everyone and everything in its tracks. What impact has the pandemic had on food globally? Dominique Crenn is the co-owner and chef of 3 Michelin-starred Atelier Crenn, Petit Crenn, and Bar Crenn in San Francisco. Dominique, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing? Good morning.
It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
The last year and a half has been pretty devastating for everyone across the globe, and particularly on the food industry. What's the current situation where you are in the US?
Well, we are located in the west part of California, which is in California, in the west part of America. So we are in San Francisco. We were one of the state that have been struggling very much. We were closed for almost a year.
Wow!
And we just reopened. We just reopened about a month ago, and so little by little, things are happening. But it's just it's been a year of really deep reflection of what really matter in this world, and it just also exposed how this planet is pretty weak, and the weakness come from the doing of us human, and it's and we have to tell the truth about this, because if we continue and go back to where we were before, I don't think this is the right way, And I know you guys in Australia suffer with the fire, which was terrible, and that we also had that here, even during the pandemic. So it's been going on. So it's as a human, I think I hope this pandemic help people to really reflect on what matters and what we can do to do better, and better surrounding, better be more communing with nature, and nature commune us back with us, and be conscious and thoughtful, Yes, food bring people together, but also food is a convenience, and that convenience is just really went to the extreme, and unfortunately this is that in a way, and I don't want to be in a way that perhaps we needed something like that to happen to wake us up, and what I'm saying this is having twins. They just turned 7, fraternal twins. They just turned 7 Saturday, May 1st. And then they've been living on the farm. So we have a farm that is 4 acres, all organic, regenerative farms, so this is kind of the beauty. But you look at those little one and you're like, I don't want to live the world the way it is today. I have to do my work to make sure that things are better. And then in the United States, you see, the people here scrambling. Health was a very huge issue during COVID. And then you realize that health is connected to the way that we eat and the way that we produce. And, so everything came around a circle, and then now is we have such an incredible opportunity to do so much better, and it's hard because when you haven't worked for a year, I mean, we've been taking care of the community, and the homeless population in San Francisco is crazy. So we've been doing about 2,000 meals a week from one of the restaurants, and I'm going to continue this. Matter of fact, I think I'm opening just for them a really cool kind of a restaurant on wheel, and I'm going to make this place the best place in the city, and that's going to be for them, and people are going to talk about it, and they're going to come, and they're going to pay for it, and the money will go back to the community. So, but it's, I'm exhausted. I'm really exhausted, and I just want people to join and realize that, everything starts at home and with your loved one, and let's be more conscious and happy, and let's not demand things that we can't have, but let's eat the things that we have around us, and make, great food, and help the farmers around you, and not think that we have to be in high demand of commercial food when we can make food around us, even if it's not, the typical menu that you will get every day. Well, food is food, and if it's delicious and if it's grown with love, I think, people would be such in a better place, But I'm very optimistic. So this is where I am today.
Well, you said it's a year of deep reflection. You're one of the world's very best chefs and most influential. You've won many accolades. How has the last year and a half changed your approach towards cooking and restaurants and the way you see yourself moving forward?
Well, I mean, we've been working on this message, and we've been doing the work for a long, long time. I remember I think it was in 2018, I literally sent a wake-up call for every chef in the industry all over the world to wake up and to understand the way we need to cook food, the way we need to grow food. So that was in 2018. And, I've been an advocate of better farming and better food and better quality, and for almost 30 years. So at the beginning, it's interesting. A lot of people thought I was crazy, and why are you doing this? And I did this because I had values when the way that I grew up. My parents gave me incredible values. They come from farmers. Both of them came from farmers, and I saw the hard work and the love and the care and the consciousness about how they were working the land, but not just working the land to work the land, but to work the land because they knew the way they were working the land, they wanted to also give back to nature, for nature to help them to have a better land, So it's kind of, this is the way I grew up, and I felt that that was my journey to do this, and it's happening. I think people are waking up. It's been great for few chefs that I've talked to, and a lot of I've reached out also that, we want to do better, we want to cook better. And it's like, well, change your menu. Look what you have around you, and don't look what is out of reach, Help the community of farmers. Those farmers are amazing. Don't go buy things from a corporation that is out of state, just reinvest within your community and be creative, if you cook from your heart, and people will come and to your restaurant, people don't come to your restaurant because you have a steak on the menu, or that's not what people want in general. They want to know the story of the chef. Cook from your heart, and cook the things that is where they come from, and it's thought out. So I think we're going to see more of that, and I love that. I think we're going to see more, menu that is going to be literally plant-based menu for sure. Once again, I'm not vegan. I'm not vegetarian, but also my menu is very much driven by vegetable, and I just serve some fish around, but it's mostly mollusk from this area and maybe a fish or two. But I'm also, asking myself the question, also with what's going on in the ocean, and sometimes you're going to have to go to the extreme to be able to rebalance where we are today. And if we can all do a little bit of work and be conscious, that's it. I think if everybody would do their part, I know it's difficult to change everything, but just, even in people, eating habit, do you want, to go to a fast food restaurant? And I know it's cheaper. We understand that. Or maybe you can go to the market, maybe start to cook for your family. I don't know. I just, there's a lot of way that we can readjust the way that we live, because it's not sustainable. It is not sustainable. We have more people on Earth. We're going to have million more people on Earth in the next few years, but the Earth doesn't get bigger. It's shrinking. It's I don't know. For me, it's common sense. And I was talking to this fisherman the other day, and his family has been fishermen for forever, and it's really interesting, when they tell me the story, they see things differently. They see, and it's happening in front of us, and we're not paying attention, and so and the restaurant industry, I think is one of the most powerful industry. But I think sometimes we are cut up to make money, because it's hard, to make money. But I think what we need to do is to not be invisible anymore, and speak up, and hopefully the government will help us also in a way, and make program with them, and see, hey, we are here, and work with us, because we also employed over 16 million in America, 4% of the GPD. Work with us, So that's, we need to work together instead to work separately to be able. And, I always say that, eating is an act of activism. When you go to a place and then you spend your money to buy something, spend it very well. You need to know where that money goes. And that's an act of activism. And you can even spend $5. But you give that $5 to whoever give you the food or drinks or whatever, but you know where that money comes from, going. And if that person's doing the right thing and working with people and trying to do the right thing, you know that you invest that money very wisely. And if we all do that, eating is an act of activism, not radical activism, but we have to, we earn that money. Just let's spend that money in a way this is also sustainable, But that's maybe because my dad was a politician, that's the way that I'm that I'm kind of thinking with a bachelor in economy. But this is, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a politician, but I think for me it's a common sense, it makes sense to do this. Because when you think about this, when you study the indigenous people, which, the way they live, it's amazing. They're exactly doing that, and they're sustainable on their own, Unfortunately, the Western civilization have pushing them away. But we got to learn from them, because they got the answer,
You mentioned your family came from farmers, and your father was a politician as well. Can you take us back to your childhood and the role that food played in your life?
Yes. So So as you know, I'm sure if you read my book or know a little bit about me, I was abandoned when I was 6 months old outside of Paris. I was born in Versailles. I was put into an orphanage, and luckily those wonderful people were looking for a little girl because they already adopted my brother, a little boy. And I didn't stay in the orphanage a long time, so which is great. So I grew up in a beautiful, loving family. So we used to go back during the summertime to Brittany, where my parents, my dad and my mom are from. My dad passed away, but we're from, and both family were were farmers. One was dealing with a potato farm and then some chicken. And on my father's side, it was also vegetable, but also they had some pigs and they had some cows. And so it was very rural, but food was everything. And literally they eat the food from the farm. So I kind of grew up with that. And, my mom, we had a garden. And so everything was very much farm to table. And, luckily I was born in France, and France is pretty good also as far as food. And, my dad, the best friend of my dad was at the time a very famous food critic. And because of my dad also, work, my dad loved food. And I kind of grew up going in a lot of amazing restaurants very young age, and I was just so taken by it, the symphony of it, and once again, those restaurants, if you go in a restaurant in Brittany, they will use everything that is grown in Brittany. If you go in Lyon, it's the Lyon area. If you go in south of France, they will use whatever is that area. So it's the time and place. So I really understood, that there's something you can get in les andouilles de Crenn, which is one of the worst things that I ever put on my mouth, but it's a very classic of Brittany. It's so stinky, but you can't get that in the south of France, or you can't get, you can get the coriander, like you can't get the seafood, the bouillabaisse in Brittany. Well, we get the coriander, but it's a little bit different, which is made with potato. And so, the time and place, you test literally the terroir of things. So that's where I grew up in this, and I was fascinated in the symphony of it, and the care and the love. And my mom was a great cook. My grandmother was amazing. And, it's something that, it's a part of your culture. It's not just at 6 or 7 o'clock you sit at the table and you eat. It's a part of, every day. It's like it's in your DNA. And I didn't go to cooking school. I studied international business, and then I got a bachelor in economy. And I was very creative also in a way, and I felt that France was a bit bureaucratic for me. I needed to express myself perhaps differently. I was writing, I was doing a lot of things very artistic, and I felt that I needed to be anchored in a place where I could blossom, not feel that because of the bureaucracy of my environment, I had to stay for a long time before to earn my place, because that's how it works in France. You start at an age, and you have to really show yourself for a long time before you get to a place where I'm like, no, I'm ready to go. So I came to San Francisco, and I fell in love with the Bay Area. And then I just like, oh my God, what I'm going to do? And then food was the things that I went to. And I decided so how I'm going to do this? I never went to school about. So I'm going to try to work with the best chef, somebody that could be very interesting. So this is when I found Chef Jeremiah Tower. And I fell in love with him, with his cooking, with his philosophy, and it was different than just a French brigade and all that. It was all about the farmers and the surrounding and all that, and I connected with this. I didn't want to be in a hard kitchen where people were getting yelled at, and then we're still friends today. It's amazing. And then I learned from him, and then as I tried to learn as much as I could, different seating, different restaurant, hotels, which was not my favorite, but I knew that I needed to do things that perhaps I didn't like to be able to get that knowledge. And then in 2009, I was working for the Intercontinental Hotel. I was opening this restaurant and for them in San Francisco, and I had we had a crazy accident. We were in the opening phase of it, and so I was working 100 hours a week and tired, and then I came home. I remember I came home at 1 a.m. in the morning, and I'm like, okay, I have to jump in the shower. And so I jumped in my bathtub with the shower, and somehow I felt, and I sliced my tendon literally in half. So my leg, I know it was like crazy accident. It was a new building, and they have like those, porcelain, soap holder, like all of that. And somehow the way that I felt that my knees hit it so hard that it just totally opened up my legs, and my tendon was literally sliced in half. My leg was in half. It was just the skin under it that was holding it. And I think I lost conscious for 15 minutes. Then I opened my eyes. I knew I couldn't get out of the bathtub. So I grabbed my phone that was somehow next to the bathtub, because I think, when you're tired, you just throw things right there. The first person that I called was my pastry chef, Juan Contreras. And he didn't answer because he was late. And so I called, I called 911, and they came and they didn't understand what was going on. And then I went to the hospital. They put me on morphine, and then I woke up in the morning, and the doctor looked at me and he said, I think, do you know how lucky you were? And I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, you cut yourself. You were like about 1 inch of one of the artery. And I'm like, you could have lost a lot of blood. I was like, and that woke me up. And then I was like, I have nothing to lose, and I need to do something that bring me joy, but also to give back to others. And this is how Atelier Crenn came into play, with the values of my dad. And Juan and I, we have to create a space where people can come, feel safe, but also they have a name, but they also have a creative space. And their voice are heard, and also a space where we are communing back with nature, and we don't just take but give back. And that's what I call it Atelier Crenn also, because it's workshop, and then 10 years later, people thought it was like, what is she doing and all that. And I love when people say that. That make me want to do more. But, with a lot of humility, I was just doing the things that I thought that, I wanted to do that make me feel good. Money was not, I didn't care about money. I had my little studio with my dog, and, I wanted to be happy and make other people happy. That was really important to me. And then 10 years later, so we're just celebrating 10 years today, and the rest is history. So, yeah.
Well, the success of Atelier Crenn and yourself has been extraordinary. You've won Best Chef, 3 Michelin stars, in the world's top 50, by the world's top 50. Absolutely extraordinary. Has the success of it surprised you, and what impact has it had on you?
Well, I remember the words of my father. I did ask him that question one time. I said to my dad, I remember I was at the house, and it was like all those people were coming in, and pretty well-known people and cars and things, gift and all that. And I was telling my dad, I was like, wow, you're very successful. You have all of that. And he said, well, this is not success. Success always come within, and you need to be in a place where when you understand who you are and you get to a place of joy and you start to give back to others, this is when success lie, because you put yourself also at the service of others. It's not about the materials or things like that you get. And I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. So this is what I've been doing. It's what we've been doing. It's things that bring us joy and give back also to others. And somehow, people pay attention and give us all those awards. But for me, it's a platform. I'm really, those hours doesn't define you. This is not success. Success is what you do with it. And I think it's been incredible, and I'm so grateful to be able to have that platform today, because now I can continue the work that I started a long time ago, to be able to keep, speaking and giving and inspiring and being an inspirer. So it's pretty amazing, and I will not have been able to do this without the team that have supporting me. So we have to understand that we are, successful in a way in life because you also have people that I lift you up in a way that and bring you up that way. So I just want to be also very thoughtful and grateful to the people that have been with me for such a long time and believe in that vision that it's just starting. I have so much more works to do, and I want to continue this journey until the end of my life, and that's what makes me happy.
You're surrounded by amazing produce in California. How important is your relationship with local producers for what you do?
Well, it's been, we're very lucky here. So 7 years ago, my ex-partner bought a beautiful farm, and so I've been farming there for quite a long time, and we have built this incredible garden and with the farmers and understanding, how things come from. But the farmers here in San Francisco, the community is amazing. You learn so much every day about what they do, and it's important to be connected to that. And every day I'm just in awe of how lucky we are, chefs, to be able to get those incredible products. And, at the end of the day, a chef is someone that just, sometimes just cook it and the food. But we need to, understand that the reason why the food is so good is not because of their technique. It's because of the product that was given to them, And I hope we can celebrate that. So yes, it's extremely, extremely important. It's a community of people that are just so lovely, and they care about everything they do, and I feel grateful to be a part of it.
You mentioned that crazy accident that you had years ago, and the pandemic, though, isn't the only thing as well that you've had a challenge to confront in the last couple of years. You were diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer. Can you tell us about that time and what the road to recovery has been like so far for you?
Yeah, it was in 2019. It was in April 2019, just the day before my birthday, where I found a lump on my breast. I'm like, what is this? It was like coming out, and And I was like, okay. And so I came back to San Francisco and I got tested. And it's funny because my doctor wouldn't get back to me. And when he said he was getting back to me, so in my head, it's like, what's going on? What's going on? And then I finally got the phone call, and I got the word C, cancer. And I was just like, ask him, oh my God, if I was in trouble. And he said, no, but you have a lot of work to do. And you also have to understand that what the type of cancer you got is it's a little bit different than the other breast cancer. You don't have any receptor, and you stage 2. And so almost stage 3. And you're going to have to go, so the road of recovery is going to be difficult. So I knew that I had to go through a regimen that was the extreme one, which is 16 different chemo treatment, which was very hard on me. But yeah, it was just... But you know what? You also getting faced to... it's kind of the pandemic. You're getting faced to a wake-up call, and you have to peel the layers of yourself and reconnect to the core of who you are. And the way you find strength is to look around and to look at the people that you love, and to see those eyes of those 2 little girls that are looking at you and seeing you losing your hair and all that, but supporting you, and you're like, no. And then I look at my teams like, no, I'm gonna fight it, and I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna be working, and I'm gonna document everything, and I'm gonna be a voice out there to make sure that people understand that we can all go through that, but it's okay. It was hard because my dad died of cancer, so I went through the up and down, and it was just really scary. So I had to realize that it was probably scary for others. But it's not easy. It's not easy, and I had to also take they had a surgery where they took both of my breasts out, and I had to go through another 6 months of recovery. So it was a year and a half of things, and then I was like, 2020 is coming in. Let's party. And the pandemic happened, and we were like, okay, well, I'm used to be at home. But it was like, wow, it was just, I feel lucky, and I think love definitely saved me. So I'm very thankful today. But it's just, it wakes you up, we're not invisible, and it just really... Humility is something that everybody should understand that we need to have, because it allows you to really understand the world around you. And if you don't have humility, then we're not making any progress out there, and sometimes you got to go through this to be able to open your eyes a little bit wider. And kindness and thoughtfulness and consciousness is something that is not a weakness. It's a strength within ourselves. So it's been quite amazing to be able to develop those strengths within me. And now I'm just, I'm not invincible. But I think it's going to be hard for me to break again,
You've been through a lot in the last couple of years, and you've talked about the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. What are some of the positives to come out of the last year and a half, do you think, for the industry, but also for humans?
Well, I think I'm going to start with the industry first. I think for our industry, what also happened, I think people outside of the industry understood the need of restaurant also. And I think they're going to look at this a little bit differently and be more kind. with our industry, which I think is a good thing. And, I think also anything that has to do with federal or state or anything like that, I think people are going to start to pay attention, because I remember there's one thing that I remember a few days ago. It was about, I think, a month and a half ago. I was on the phone with Pelosi, a team regarding Pelosi is the speaker of the House Speaker here in the United States, and we've been fighting to get $15 minimum wage across America. And then we've also been fighting to get the taxes that were imposed on the wine industry in Europe because of, I don't know, because they've been fighting with America. I'm not sure. But those taxes, those high taxes affected those little mom and pop restaurants where the only way they could make profit is selling wine. But because the wine got so expensive, they had no way. So I was on the call with them and I said, listen, and I was just so passionate. It's like, our industry is very powerful, and you think because we might not be the most profitable industry, we have people, and you guys need to help us. And what happened like a week after, they literally froze those taxes, and the wine got cheaper for those people. And I thought that was amazing. So I understood the power now. We have an incredible power with the politician, and I'm not going to stop there. And for the $15 minimum wage, which should be across the country, we're going to pass it. And I know that, like things like that, so. And I think that's what's been changing a lot. I think a lot of also, I think the factory industry has crumbled under the pandemic, which is those industrial factory animals industry, milk industry that is very industrial, a little bit crumbled again. And once again, I never want to have people out of jobs or things like that, but it is a good thing. And maybe with that, maybe those industry can maybe start to be more sustainable and do things differently and do things better, which could be great. So there's been a lot of wake-up call also. And I think human also starting to wake up. I don't know what's happening in Australia, but I've never seen so many places like farmer market or been so packed of people. And when we start to reopen, small restaurant, being people just go there and just they want to support, and that's been amazing, I remember like this woman was like, well, I was going to go get, burger, for my kid, like at that fast food, like at McDonald's or Burger King. But that little mom and pop, they have very good burger, and that's okay. I'm going to spend $2 more and I want to support them. That's amazing. So that's kind of what's happening. That's a little bit of change.
You talked about what success means to you and that joy that what you do has bring. But can you tell us what you love about what you do?
Well, I mean, the first things that I love about my work is to be able to use food as a language, and also to connect with people that I don't know, to know their story and to learn and to be curious. And I think conversation, is to bring, the food, bring conversation and bring togetherness and bring more understanding with each other. So that's what I love about this. That's what I love about this work. And it's, I think if tomorrow you tell me that I'm going to be, closed down in my house for the next 3 years seeing nobody, I wouldn't be able to do that, you know. Even if you tell me, oh, you can be on Zoom every night, I would be like, I need connection. You know, I need connection. We all need connection. You know, we need to get to know people. You know, when people, you know, when customer come here, I go to the table. I want to ask them, you know, question. I want to know where they're from. You know, I want to maybe want them to reveal something about them that I don't know. And I think that's powerful, and that allow you to understand things that you don't know, and that's powerful to me.
Well, Dominique, we're honoured to have you on Deep in the Weeds today. Absolutely inspiring, and very much looking forward to seeing what you do in the next couple of years in regards to the industry and food and the way that we can change our eating and our farming habits. Please keep in touch, and would love to catch up with you again soon.
Yes, and make sure that keep dancing, because there is no beautiful world without dancing. So thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we share the stories of Australia's hospo community, suppliers and producers in search of hope during this pandemic. Special thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Follow us on Instagram at Deep in the Weeds Podcast, or email us at podcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay safe and be well.